Combat Instructor Korvax's unconscious body hit the training deck before his tactical mask finished falling. 20 elite alien cadets stood frozen, their multi-species biology united in shock. Everyone saw the human move. Nobody saw how. Emma Johnson stood there, the instructor's fractured breathing mask in pieces at her feet, looking around with genuine confusion. "He slapped me," she said to no one in particular. "Was I supposed to just take that?" The Academy's emergency alarms screamed to life. In 4,000 years of operation, no trainee had ever neutralized an instructor. Security forces poured into the training hall, weapons drawn, then stopped, completely uncertain who to restrain. The human exchange student who just dropped the galaxy's most decorated combat instructor, or the instructor himself, who'd struck first. Commandant Zilax burst through the main doors, his blue carapace darkening with stress hormones. His primary eyes locked onto Korvax's motionless form, then snapped to Emma, who was now sitting on a bench examining her knuckles with mild interest. "Cadet Johnson," Zilax's translator struggled with his rapid speech pattern. "Explain, immediately." According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Emma looked up, brushing her brown hair from her face. "Sure. So we were doing the close combat drill, right? I asked why we couldn't use the prediction matrices I read about in Chapter 7 because they seemed more efficient than just blocking randomly. Instructor Korvax said I was talking back and that humans needed to learn respect." She shrugged. "Then he slapped me, hard. So I blocked his next swing, took his mask off, and I guess he passed out." "You guess?" Zilax's voice climbed an octave. "I mean, I didn't hit him that hard. I was trying really hard not to hurt him badly." Emma stood up. "Am I in trouble? Because technically he assaulted me first, and on Earth that's—" "Do not move!" Zilax's command voice activated. Every cadet in the hall snapped to attention. Emma just looked more confused. The medical team swarmed Korvax. The head physician, a spindly creature named Jotaro, ran his scanner over the fallen instructor 3 times, mandibles clicking in distress. "Commandant, I need you to see this." Zilax approached, leaving 2 guards hovering near Emma, who had started scrolling through her datapad like she was waiting for a bus. "3 fractured carapace segments," Jotaro whispered. "Neural shock consistent with precise strike to the tertiary cortex junction. Non-lethal damage, but perfectly calculated to incapacitate without permanent harm." He looked at Zilax with what the Commandant recognized as fear. "Sir, this level of anatomical knowledge, combined with exact force calculation, what kind of warrior is she?" "She's a high school gym teacher," Zilax said numbly, pulling up Emma's file on his wrist display. "She's a what?" "Back on Earth, she teaches physical education to adolescent humans." Zilax scrolled through her records. "No military background. No combat certification. She applied to the exchange program to study xenobiology." He looked back at Emma, who was now trying to explain something to a confused guard using hand gestures. "She wanted to attend lectures about comparative anatomy." Jotaro's scanner beeped. "Korvax is regaining consciousness." "Sir, he's demanding to know what happened." The legendary instructor groaned, all 4 of his eyes focusing slowly. When he saw Emma still standing in the training hall, he tried to surge upright. Jotaro pushed him back down with surprising strength for his slender frame. "Stay down, you fool," the doctor hissed. "She could have killed you." "The human?" Korvax's laugh turned into a wheeze. "Impossible! I've fought 300 species across 4,000 encounters. A human civilian couldn't—" "She moved faster than our sensors could track," Zilax interrupted, holding up his datapad. "I've reviewed the security footage 20 times. 1 frame shows your strike incoming, the next frame shows you falling and her holding your mask. There's nothing in between." Korvax's eyes widened, all 4 of them. "Show me." They crowded around the display. The footage played in extreme slow motion, Korvax's hand moving toward Emma's face, Emma's eyes tracking the movement with eerie calm. Then, a blur of motion that the high-speed cameras reduced to digital artifacts and motion trails. When the image cleared, Korvax was already falling, and Emma stood unmoved, the mask in her hand. "That's not possible," Korvax whispered. "What is she?" "I'm right here, you know," Emma called from across the hall. "And I can hear you. Your translator is broadcasting." Zilax walked over to her, his mind racing through protocols that never anticipated this scenario. "Cadet Johnson, I need you to explain exactly what happened. Every detail." Emma sighed. "Okay, so like I said, he swung at me the first time and actually hit me. That hurt, by the way. My face is probably going to bruise. Then he wound up for another hit, so I blocked it, removed his mask because it looked like a structural weakness, and guided him down to the floor. Basic self-defense." She paused. "Do you guys not have reflexes or something?" "Humans' reaction times are documented at 0.25 seconds, Zilax said carefully. "What you just did required 0.003 seconds. That's faster than our neural impulse transmission." Emma blinked. "Wait, you're saying you guys don't—" "Oh." Her expression shifted to understanding, then something close to pity. "Oh, wow. You don't read body language, do you?" "Explain." "He telegraphed everything." His shoulder dipped before the first swing, his weight shifted forward, his eyes focused on my cheekbone as a target. I had like a full second to see it coming and decide how to respond. She demonstrated by mimicking Korvax's movements. "See? Shoulder, weight, eyes, then swing. It's super obvious." The training hall had
gone completely silent. Every cadet, every guard, every instructor was staring at Emma like she'd just explained how she routinely violated the laws of physics. "You're saying," Zilax spoke slowly, "that you predicted his attack before he executed it?" "Well, yeah, that's how fighting works." Emma looked around at the sea of shocked alien faces. "Right? You watch what someone's about to do, then you counter it. That's like basic playground stuff." "No species has that capability," Korvax said from his medical gurney. "We react to attacks. We don't predict them." Emma's mouth fell open. "You're kidding. You guys evolved as warriors and predators, and none of you can read micro-expressions? What do you do in fights?" "We punch fast and hope we're faster than the opponent," admitted a cadet with crystalline features. Emma started laughing. She tried to stop, covered her mouth, but it burst out anyway. "Oh my God! Oh my God, you're serious! You're actually serious!" She sat back down, wiping her eyes. "No wonder you all look so shocked. You literally can't see attacks coming." Zilax activated his emergency command channel. "I need the Galactic Combat Assessment Council, immediately, Priority Alpha." Within an hour, 3 of the galaxy's foremost combat experts materialized via hologram in the training hall. Master Instructor Vex Thul, a 8-limbed creature who'd written the definitive text on close-quarters combat. Tactical Analyst Sinara, whose pattern recognition had saved entire fleets. Combat Theorist Genix, who'd developed the mathematical framework for every fighting style in known space. They watched the footage. They watched it again. Vexthul requested 17 additional angles. Sinara ran probability matrices. Genix's calculations covered 3 holographic displays. "Impossible," they said in unison. "Yeah, everyone keeps saying that," Emma muttered from her seat. She'd been there for 3 hours now, mostly playing games on her datapad while aliens panicked around her. "Cadet Johnson," Vexthul addressed her directly, "would you consent to a controlled demonstration?" "Of what? Me hitting people? That seems like a bad idea." "A non-violent demonstration," Sinara clarified. "We simply need to understand your threat assessment capabilities." Emma shrugged. "I guess. But I'm telling you, this is completely normal for humans. You're all acting like I did something special." They set up a testing area. Vexthul himself would execute strikes at reduced speed while Emma explained what she observed.
The master instructor moved into position, his 8 limbs creating a forest of potential attack vectors. "Ready when you are," Emma said, sounding bored. Vexthul struck at 30% of his normal speed, still faster than most species could see. His second arm on the left side extended toward Emma's midsection. Emma leaned back slightly. "Left second limb, targeting my solar plexus. You shifted weight to your right front support, limb about half a second before the strike. Also, that limb tensed visibly, and your eye on that side focused on my midsection to track the target." She didn't move otherwise, letting the strike pass through empty air where she'd been. "You're also favoring your right side overall, which means either an old injury or just personal preference. I'd guess preference, since you're not compensating with additional tension." Ginnicks's calculations stopped mid-equation. "She's analyzing combat intentions through micro-muscle movements and attention tracking." "Oh, is that what we're calling it?" Emma scratched her nose. "I just call it paying attention, like you watch someone's shoulders, hips, eyes, and you know what they're about to do. We teach this to kids in self-defense classes back home." "You teach children this ability?" Sinara's voice had climbed into ranges that human ears couldn't quite follow. "I mean, not formally to kids, but teenagers learn it naturally from sports, playground fights, that kind of thing." Emma watched as Vexthul tried another strike, this time with a different limb. She shifted her weight before he moved. "Right third limb, going for my shoulder. You're testing if I can read different movement patterns. The answer's yes, by the way. Your species is actually pretty easy to read. Lots of limbs means lots of telegraphing." Vexthul stopped mid-strike, all 8 limbs frozen in space. "Easy to read?" "Sure. More moving parts, more tells. Species with fewer limbs are actually harder because they have fewer options, so you have to watch more carefully for subtle cues," Emma demonstrated by pointing at different parts of Vexthul's body. "Like right now, you're thinking about attacking with limbs 4 and 6 simultaneously. Your upper carapace segment just shifted to balance for a 2-vector strike. Your breathing changed slightly, faster intake, which means preparing for exertion. And your eyes are tracking 2 targets on my body instead of 1. Vexthul's limbs dropped to his sides. "How long have humans had this capability?" "I mean, forever? It's evolutionary biology. We're persistence predators. We chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion, which takes hours of tracking and predicting movement patterns. You can't do that if you can't read body language and anticipate direction changes." Emma pulled up her own datapad. "Actually, there's a great paper on this from Earth's Journal of Evolutionary Psychology from 2019. Want me to send you the link?" Zilax was accessing human evolutionary records with increasingly frantic speed. They evolved as endurance hunters, social pack species with complex communication needs, their entire cognitive development optimized for reading intention and predicting behavior in both prey and social groups. "So they're all like this?" Korvax had managed to sit up on his gurney, watching the demonstration with all 4 eyes. "Every human?" "It's standard baseline capability." "Yes," Emma confirmed. "Some people are better at it than others. Athletes, fighters, performers tend to be really good, but anyone who's not, seriously impaired can do basic threat assessment." She looked around at the assembled aliens. "I cannot believe you guys never developed this. How do you function in social situations if you can't read body language?" "We use verbal communication," Ginnicks said slowly, "and pheromones, and bioelectric fields. We evolved different solutions to social coordination." "But in combat, you just hope you're fast enough?" "Yes," Emma sat back, shaking her head in amazement. "Wow, that explains so much about galactic military doctrine. I was reading about the Battle of Kepler 7 in history class and thinking, why didn't they see that flanking maneuver coming? But you literally couldn't see it coming, could you?" "No," Sinara admitted. "We responded after the enemy moved into position." "Humans would have read their movement patterns and predicted their positioning before they executed the maneuver," Emma said thoughtfully. Actually, that's probably why the first contact war ended so weirdly. The history books say both sides stopped fighting because of unexpected behavioral analysis. But really, you guys kept trying to ambush human forces, and humans kept seeing the ambushes coming, right? Zilax checked the historical records. His carapace went completely white. The human diplomatic envoy predicted 17 different assassination attempts before they occurred. We thought they had intelligence leaks. They were just watching the assassins move. Of course. Emma stood up, stretching. Look, this has been fascinating and all, but I have comparative anatomy in 20 minutes, and I really don't want to miss it. Professor Zara is covering respiratory system evolution, and I wrote like 15 questions for the discussion section. Are we done here? The assembled combat experts looked at each other. Multiple species, multiple homeworlds, multiple evolutionary paths, all arriving at the same unspoken conclusion. Humans were the most dangerous combatants in the galaxy, not because of strength or speed, but because they saw violence coming before it arrived. One more question, Korvax called out. When you struck me, when you removed my mask, you calculated exactly how much force to use to incapacitate without killing. How? Emma walked over to him. I teach 15-year-olds how to play dodgeball without giving each other concussions. I break up fights between teenage boys who are twice my size and full of hormones. You think I don't know how to neutralize a threat without causing permanent damage? She smiled, not unkindly. I didn't want to hurt you badly. You were just being a jerk, not actively trying to kill me. So I used exactly enough force to stop you from hitting me again. That's called proportional response. You could have killed me easily. Yeah, but why would I? You made a mistake. Mistakes don't deserve death sentences. Emma patted his shoulder. Gently, everyone noticed. No hard feelings, just maybe don't slap people who've spent their entire evolutionary history learning to predict and counter attacks, okay? Zilax began typing out emergency protocols. Effective immediately. All human exchange students are exempt from physical discipline. All combat instructors will be briefed on human predictive capabilities. All training scenarios involving humans will be redesigned to account for their threat assessment abilities. Also, Emma added helpfully, maybe don't start fights with species you don't understand. That seems like a good rule in general. That's already a rule, Zilax said tiredly. Then maybe follow it? Emma checked her datapad. Okay, I really do need to go. Professor Zara doesn't like tardiness, and unlike Instructor Korvax, she expresses disappointment through really devastating verbal observations rather than violence, and honestly, that's way scarier. She walked toward the exit, the assembled aliens, combat experts, instructors, security forces, and cadets simply stood there and watched her go. The most dangerous fighter in the training hall, wandering off to biology class. Commandant, one of the guards whispered. How many humans are in the exchange program? Zilax checked. His carapace went white again. 17,000, across the galaxy, in military academies, research stations, diplomatic posts. And they're all standard baseline capability, Zilax confirmed, quoting Emma's own words. Anyone who's not seriously impaired. In the doorway, Emma stopped and turned back. Oh, one more thing. That prediction matrix stuff I asked about earlier, from Chapter 7, that's based on the assumption that combatants can't see attacks coming. You might want to rewrite that entire section of the manual. She grinned. Or you could just ask a human to write it. We've got like thousands of years of martial arts traditions that account for predictive threat assessment. Just saying. Then she was gone, her footsteps echoing down the corridor. Someone, a cadet probably, started laughing, then another. Within seconds, the entire training hall was filled with the slightly hysterical laughter of beings who just discovered that their entire understanding of combat had been fundamentally incomplete. Korvax, still sitting on the medical gurney, began laughing too. I slapped her, he said between wheezes. I actually slapped a human, a species that evolved to predict attacks before they happen. I might be the galaxy's greatest fool. You're definitely in the running, Jotaro agreed, running his scanner one more time. But you'll live to learn from it, which, considering what she could have done, shows remarkable human restraint. Vexthul's hologram was already accessing human martial arts databases. This changes everything. Every combat doctrine, every training manual, every tactical assumption we've made for 4,000 years. All because a high school gym teacher wanted to attend xenobiology lectures, Sinara added, something like awe in her voice. Zilax filed his emergency report to the Galactic Council. In the subject line he wrote, "Urgent. Human combat capabilities severely underestimated. Recommend immediate diplomatic protocol review. Do not initiate violence against humans. They see it coming." Down the hall, Emma found her classroom. Professor Zara was just starting the lecture on respiratory system evolution. Emma slipped into her seat, pulled out her notes, and raised her hand with her first question. Something about oxygen exchange efficiency in methane-breathing species. Just another Tuesday at the academy. She'd probably have that bruise on her face by tomorrow, but the ice pack from medical should keep the swelling down. And she'd finally gotten an answer to why the combat training seemed so weirdly reactive instead of predictive. Turned out, the entire galaxy had been fighting blind, and humans were the only ones who'd evolved to see the punch coming. Who knew?